And it's, you know, now it's beyond what nutrition supplements are going to do by themselves, I can tell you that. Here's what's fascinating, is that if I told you that there were nutrients that are on the planet Earth, that are natural, that could block the cancer cell's ability to make those blood vessels form, would you be interested in knowing what those nutrients are? Or should we end the seminar now? There are natural anti-angiogenic compounds that when people put those nutrients into their body, cancer risk is lower. Controlling cancer is easier. And let's put the list on the board. These are the things that prevent cancer cells from over-secreting what's called vascular endothelial-derived growth factor. You see this form of vitamin E? Most people don't know about it. It's called vitamin E succinate. It's a powerful form of vitamin E that's been proven to block the secretion of vascular endothelial-derived growth factor. No other form of vitamin E does it. So of course I put it into the multivitamin that I made because I wanted in my body. I know myself, my body's making cancer cells every day. I don't want them to have a chance to form blood vessels. So that's the form of vitamin E I would suggest you utilize. Milk thistle, we saw that before in the immunodetox product. Not only does it improve detoxification, it shuts off that. Soy isoflavones do the same thing. Where people have more soy products in their diet, cancer rates of breast and prostate and colon are much lower. Those isoflavonoids are like a gift from the heavens. They do so many things. Curcumin from the spice turmeric also does this. Green tea, the catechins in green tea, help to block this production. And strawberries and raspberries contain ellagic acid, which also has been shown in experimental studies to do the same thing. Then there's this. I said cancer cells will commit suicide when they're starting to develop, but you can boost the ability of the cancer cell to commit suicide with some of the same nutrients we've already seen. Vitamin E succinate, selenium at higher doses, vitamin C, reishi mushroom extract that we saw earlier, isoflavones, garlic and onions. It all comes back to the same nutrients over and over again. These are the critical ones that are protective nutrients for our bodies. Next one. So, if I have to sum up, what I'm going to say to you is, before you can look at this little chart, these are the 10 basic nutritional steps, right? And while you're looking at that little overhead, I want to introduce you to a guy named Dr. David Saverin Schreiber. You know about his book, The Anti-Cancer Lifestyle? Anybody? It's a bestseller. Who is he? He's a medical doctor who's also a PhD researcher who himself developed cancer a number of years ago. Went to see his friends who were oncologists who operated on him. And after they did surgery and he was, lucid and functioning again, he said, listen, David, we have some really bad news for you. That is that we got a lot of it, most of it, but we don't think we've managed to really cure this thing in a way that's going to give you any kind of longevity, and that this is going to return because you've got the type of cancer we can't treat completely. So go home and make plans for yourself because you're not going to be around very long. This cancer is going to catch up with you. And he looked at all the actuarial statistics and said, yeah, I'm going to die. So he said, but there must be something else you can do. He said, the oncologist was a friend of his. David, there's nothing else. Medical science has nothing else for you. I'm sorry, there's just nothing. Well, there must be something. There's nothing. There is nothing else that can be done. We're really sorry. So the guy has nothing else to do, right? And he's a researcher. So he goes home, he says, well, maybe some of these oncology textbooks are outdated, by the time they get into textbooks. Sometimes there's new research. So I'm going to go looking for some new research. So he does a search on the peer-reviewed journals on cancer and how you can control it, manage it, prevent it. And all of a sudden, thousands of research papers show up. And many of them are from the journals I've been reading since 1983. The International Journal of Nutrition and Cancer, the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, the Journal of Nutrition, the Journal of Nutrition Reviews, the British Journal of Cancer, Oncogene, the Journal of National Cancer Institute. Every single month, there are breakthrough articles in there that show us how curcumin, isoflavones, vitamin E succinate, reishi mushroom, milk thistle, these things I'm talking to you about in peer-reviewed journals are showing up saying, look at what this can do to control cancer and stop the process and cut off blood supply and get the cell to commit suicide and make the immune system stronger. He says, they didn't teach me this in medical school. Maybe it's not real. But what does he do? He changed his whole lifestyle. Started to follow the dietary plan that you're looking at here. Put some special cocktail nutrients into his body like the ones we're talking about tonight. And all of a sudden his cancer goes into an extreme remission. His quality of life is fantastic. He outlives all the actuarial tables and says, I got to go and tell people about this. So he wrote one book Years later, he just published his second book. He was in Toronto recently on CFRB talking about this, saying, don't wait till you get cancer. Make the lifestyle changes now. Get the active constituents that the good earth has already given us that we can use to fortify our defense. Because this is real. He said, they didn't teach me this in medical school. It's not in the curriculum. These journals aren't even introduced. Why? Because there's no time in the curriculum to cover everything. They can't know everything. And so the nutrition part is skipped over. I'm sorry, it's deficient. So you can't just wait for your medical doctor to come along and tell you this, because it hasn't been part of their training in many cases. In some cases, they went on their own and they discovered it. But I'm telling you, that what I've told you tonight is as real as it comes. So there you see it. Low animal fat, get the fruit and vegetables, make sure some are cruciferous, decrease your exposure to carcinogens, get the fiber that you need, good water, watch your sodium, get the soy isoflavones. In the core, we have some handout notes for you, which we'll give you at the end of this talk, that show you how to get those isoflavones. And of course, you need to exercise. I mean, that's a given, so I didn't really get into that tonight. For men, keep your waist circumference below 36, for women under 33. That's how you help to have a longer lifespan with less complications and disease. And the MacArthur Foundation study showed us that people who live longer often have lives that are meaningful, they're spiritual, they have positive human interaction. So don't just eat healthy and exercise and take supplements and be angry and hostile and cynical. It doesn't work. Really, the people who go the distance, really, as a rule, if they're doing all those other things right, are often very good-natured people. They want to help. Their life still has purpose. They're still giving back to the world in a way that's meaningful. Okay, so now, here's what happens. Here's what happens. It happens to me. Like I eat chicken instead of red meat, probably most of you, right? I have a veggie burger instead of a hamburger. I try to get a cruciferous vegetable. I try to get some soy products, at least 3 or 4 times a week. And I exercise and try to stay lean. I take my supplements. But still, every day, for as long back as I can remember, as far back as I can remember, in the middle of the day, part of my brain says, I just feel like I need a little something to eat. Right? And so the other part of my brain says, are you hungry? And the first part of the brain says, no, but I just need a little something. And the other part says, well, that's very irrational because you're not hungry, so why would you need a little something? And this part of the brain says, if I don't get a little something, I'm going to start freaking out. So all of a sudden I get this anxiety built up in front of me, inside of me, and I just need to have a little something. And then I can go back to whatever I'm doing, and I'm fine, I'm calm again. Anybody else like me? Here's what I realized, because I've coached a lot of people. Doesn't matter what you read, how many seminars you take. If you're one of those people where you need a little something, you're always going to be that person. There's not going to be some magical trend. There's never going to be a change that you're somebody else. Some people are the opposite. Stressed, anxious, upset, nervous, happy, elated. They can't eat a thing. Some people are like that. There's always 1 or 2 weirdos. So we're all in the same boat. We like to just have a little something. It has nothing to do with hunger. And that's where you can do a lot of damage. And I know that because, sometimes I've been working out in fitness clubs for many years. And sometimes, if I'm in a club, let's say I belong for 7 or 8 years, I'll see someone who comes in every day like me. Gets on the treadmill or the elliptical machine, and every year they're getting fatter and fatter and fatter. They're working out like mad. They get bigger and fatter and bigger. They get their diet's wrong. They don't realize that they're restuffing their fat cells with that saturated fat all the time, the hydrogenated fat. So if you're going to have a little something in the moment, try to use a solution substitution. So in that moment of temptation, what am I thinking about? I really would like a tuna steak. No. I want something ooey-gooey, chippy-dippy, a frozen dessert, or a bar. That's what I want. Ooey-gooey, chippy-dippy, frozen dessert, or bar. Isn't that what it comes down to? You can do a lot of damage in that moment. That's my point. So you've got to use solution substitution. See the scenes on the board? They're in your notes. Under chippy-dippy, the best one is low-fat popcorn, by the way, because you need tons of it. It has a good fiber to clean the colon. It's fantastic. These things like gelatos and sorbets. I've seen you out for dinner with, some couples, and, and everybody's eating healthy, and then they wheel a little dessert cart by. Ooh, take my chocolate, I love that, my chocolate. Which is a very good name for that dessert. And people, they start losing it. The person goes, well, I used to like carrot cake, I guess I'll just have some carrot sticks. That's not realistic. No one can expect you to make a jump like that. So have sorbet, sherbet, a little biscotti with, coffee. Get through the moment without doing the major damage that normally will occur. If you're someone that eats chocolate bars, man, you got to find an alternative. that's less fat. Get less fat going into your body. If you're exercising regularly, you'll have no problem burning some of those carbs. Don't overdo it. Just use these as in-the-moment solution substitutions. On the supplementation side, to sum up what we were doing earlier, if it's new to you, I would say this, that the only thing you really have to do that I think is super mandatory is take that high-potency multivitamin with nature's essential oils. If that's all you did, that's spectacular. That's already light years ahead in terms of disease prevention and slowing down the aging process. If you want to get more aggressive, and I suggest that you do, this is what my plan looks like. At age 40, as a man I take prostate 40 plus, I started back in my 40s doing that, and I created it, and to protect your joints, glucosamine joint formula. Then at age 45, I'd introduced, because there's a power shortage going on now, cardio essentials, the CoQ10 and the Hawthorne. And then at age 50, if I'm a woman, I would be introducing women's hormonal support if I'm having trouble with menopause. But I think everybody should be on something like Immunodetox Prime by then. Boost the immune system, make sure your detoxification centers are optimized. At age 55, you might want to start thinking about some brain stim. That's the Platinum program. Everybody sits there and goes, well, I'm not so crazy about that. I think that makes more sense. People pick and choose from the menu. I just want to show you what I think the Platinum program looks like, and then you can decide what you're willing to do for yourself along the way. I just wanted you to see the scientific basis upon which it